Yo, yo, yo. It is Thursday night. Best night in cryo, if you
It
ask me.
is, isn't it?
I'm your boy High Five Vega, joined as always by Dean, Smash Force Productions own.
Dude, has your week been just as like, what day is it?
Dude,
Like,
it's been hectic. Like you can see behind me that I didn't have time to clean up before the show. So
man,
it's been busy.
my week has just been, I don't even know what day of the week it is. And it's weird too, because like you can always tell when it's like a travel week because like we don't get into like projects because we need a hard out. So we don't really take on projects. And for some reason, this week is turned into what would seem like a travel week, but isn't because we don't leave until next week. So all the jobs we're doing are these, quick turnaround things. And it's like, what's going on? And then having Monday off and like, it's just like, it's just weird. Like the last day of school for the kids was this week. You don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't really have to worry about it anymore, but the kid we take to school in the morning, we took him to school and it was like, I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it was like, wait, what? And it's usually a Thursday. And I was like, I don't even know what the frick is going on. So,
Right.
it was so crazy. But yeah, it's Thursday.
It's Thursday. It is
Tomorrow's the news. So,
Oh man.
uh,
So
yep.
oh just go ahead. Finish
No,
your
I got nothing.
I was gonna say you dropped you wrapped one up that we didn't talk about last week, the Tesla.
Yes.
So that the whole Tesla install is done, over
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. Thank God.
Looked like an absolute nightmare.
No. We were ultra detailed. Like I had one of the comments that I saw on the full video was like, "Oh my God, thank God this one's finally out. You've been milking that one for so long." And I'm like, no, it's just like the whole like there again, we're really particular about when we release a video. It's like you can't just like you're not gonna be talking about doing the doors and then just jump into like here's the amplifier, because it
right.
doesn't make any sense. So and also we were trying to be we know what Alpine put out, it's a 20-minute video. So if you need something more than a 20-minute video to figure this out, well, that's where we're coming in. So we're going to show you and tell you all the pitfalls that you're going to run into. So, it takes time to go through that. I mean, we could skip over all that crap, but what fun would that be?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
no.
outside of having everything you had to do to prep in the beginning with the battery and all that, outside of that, it didn't look too daunting except for a few plug issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and there again, it's one of those things, and that was the thing. It was showing those things because if the cars are easy to take apart, there's like one screw in the whole car,
Yeah.
So they're super easy to take apart. They're also super fragile, so you have to be like, I mean, the plastic is strong today, but who knows what it'll be 3 years from now. So, and I think we even say that in the video that it's like it's okay today, but we all know how these cars turn out. I mean, your Prius didn't exactly hold up.
No.
So
broke every single vent piece on it.
Shit. We had a Rav4 come in the other day, and there's these two winglets that are on there on the previous generation, and I can't get them off. They're always going to break. And Fernando, I see him. I go, "Holy crap! You got these out without breaking them?" He goes, "I know, right?" So we immediately took the top tabs off.
Yeah.
Because that's what breaks. So if they're not there, then they'll just pop right off. They put too many tabs on them, and the top ones, because of you can't get in and pull from the top. Yeah, it always just snaps them in half. Plus, it's just the plastic they're using as shit. But no, it's my biggest complaint with the Tesla is the tweeters. Alpine does not give you good tweeters to go in there. The tweeters that is in the kit should be like a hard dome tweeter, not a soft dome tweeter. So like if I was going, now that we've had time and we've reflected on it, and it's like if I was to go back into that system, the recommendation I would make is give us a hard dome tweeter to make the highs really, but they which we may be able to do in the DSP, but at the time our hands were tied as far as what we could and couldn't do, so we couldn't get there, and we just couldn't do anything to it. So whatever.
Yeah. Just like the amp install. You didn't do it the way, clearly you said you didn't do it the way that you typically would have done it.
I mean, the nice thing is once we figured out how to do it, after going back and looking at it, I'm going, I don't know if I'd fight the issue on this one. I mean, it sucks that it's there because it's like, that's a good place to put stuff. And I know like with like Sue's car, we use that space. She doesn't have a Tesla, but her car has space like that. We use it all the time. So to have that amp there seems like a really space grab, that there's a great place for that amplifier underneath the passenger front seat.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to move it to there. So I would definitely, do that. It was a Model Y, but I believe the S and the Y are the same system. There's just a different subwoofer and whatnot. So, but yeah. So, Type S, Model S. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm guessing Model S because
I think it's Model S.
I don't know.
You hardly ever see Model S's around.
I don't even know the nomenclature for these cars because I could care less.
The ones you don't see around are the X and the S. The X is the one with the gull wing doors.
Oh, I like that one.
Yep.
Wayne had one of those that we got to listen to his full Moscone system, which I think I finally got out. I believe that one got edited. His car was cool. When he picked this up and the doors went up, I go, oh, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I think that one's like $20,000 too.
Worth it. Totally worth it. Like if you got to have this ugly ass jelly bean car, it's totally worth it. Dual motors S and Model X are my favorite, of course. The Plaid. The Plaid is just a really fast jelly bean. It's like having a favorite turd before you flush them down the toilet. I'm not a Tesla guy at all. I don't understand the appeal. I think they're ugly. They're definitely cheaply made. I don't think it's flashy or cool to be driving. And there again, these are the opinions of Dean and do not reflect anybody else. Yeah. But I just, and there again, I could, when you see a new Corvette, okay, the first thought is Ferrari, and then you go, no, it's a Corvette. You go, that's a flashy car. A Ferrari is a flashy car. A Porsche is a flashy car. These are the cars we're trained to think are flashy cars. A Mustang is a Camaro. Even like an old school Olds or a box Chevy. These are mean looking cars. A Tesla is a jelly bean. It looks like especially when it's white, it looks like a freaking marshmallow coming down the road. It's like, oh, look at me, I'm going super fast. I can beat your Mustang. I don't give a shit. You look like an idiot.
Yeah.
I like the one meme where it says Tesla owners think of themselves, and it has the pretty boy Aristotle vampires.
Yeah.
From whatever the team, whatever. Yeah. And then what they actually are. I love that meme. So
yeah. Yeah,
I have no problem with gas engines. So I think the hybrid model makes more sense to me. Okay, like I think a hybrid, like your Prius.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the new Priuses?
Oh yeah, they're pretty tight.
They're freaking awesome looking. I like when we were at Master Tech, Gary Bell has one. And I was like, wait, what is that? And he's like, it's my new Prius. And I was like, dude, that's badass. Yeah. And to me, a hybrid makes more sense because at a hybrid, I'm never going to be left on the side of the road because my battery's dead. I have to be that guy. Like we have a Wawa, and it's a parking lot for Chick-fil-A and Wawa share the same parking lot. So all across the back of the Wawa is all the Tesla charging stations. And so like Haley and I drove by there last night to get dinner. And you have all these guys sitting in the Tesla charging stations with their laptops out. That's all you saw. And I go, so like owning a Tesla is your new office? You have to learn how to work in your car? I mean, that just seems dumb.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, Prius has definitely been ugly for so long. Glad they finally decided to do something. And there again, I think it's like if you look at Prius and you have the standard Prius, right?
Yeah.
And then remember
something like
that. Remember when they came out with like 2 or 3 other Priuses?
Mm-hmm.
And like I think that was them throwing shit at the wall to see what would stick.
Yeah.
And what stuck was what we got now, which is the newest Prius that doesn't look like an ugly car.
Yeah.
It's still a Prius, but it has some style to it, which it's, to me, Prius has always lacked.
Yeah.
And I think all electric vehicles have lacked style. They just don't have it.
Except for like the original Tesla.
The two-door coupe?
Yes, the one with the Lotus body on it.
Yeah, but that's because it was a Lotus.
Right.
Fisker, yeah.
This is the way. So it's like a Chevy Volt, the original Volt, never ran off a gas engine, but it had a gas engine.
Yeah.
When the batteries were low, it would just kick on, charge the batteries.
Yeah, and that's like Brian has a Volt, so he loves it, and he has the Cadillac. So I mean, he's got all the EV he can handle.
The good thing about a true hybrid, though, is even when the batteries, you can drive them even when the battery's bad. If it's the other way around, like the Volt style, well, once the battery's done, it's done, just like a regular one.
We haven't worked on the Rivian yet, but let's be honest, the Rivian truck is the front end of the Rivian truck is like, that's a butterface. That's literally the definition of butterface. And the other thing too, so I saw a, again, don't believe everything you see on the internet, but I did see this story, real, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And it was of a Rivian, and they were talking about how, because it has such a low center of gravity and all the weight is actually over the axles, when it plows into a guardrail, they show it literally going through the first metal guardrail, the concrete guardrail behind it, and finally stopping at the third guardrail. And it's because it's unlike a conventional pickup truck that has weight up high in the front, where it just kind of does one of these things because there's no weight in the back. This thing keeps its wheels down and just pummels through all this crap. And they're like, the guardrails aren't set up for this. And I was like, ooh, that's an interesting thing. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, because I'm not going to believe everything I see on the internet. But it does pose the question in that it might be real. And I don't know about you, but here in Florida, I don't want to be driving which I would never anyways. And because you're going off the Skyway Bridge and into the water 300 feet down. But Chevy Bolt is a hybrid. Yeah. He has all the hybrid he needs. And let's be honest, where's the joke in the truck, right? How did that even become a thing that people thought was cool? Because if you think the Cybertruck is a sexy beast,
it's just different. That's why people think different.
It's not even different, dude. You drew that when you were 4 years old, and
but no one ever made it. No one ever made it for good reason. But
it's the dumbest looking thing you've ever seen, and apparently it's made like a box of crayons. Like they showed the whole side of it because I guess someone took the side off of it to see what kind of a structure it had underneath, and it was like ABS. It's like, oh, well, that'll protect you. I mean, granted, it's got to be light and all that other bullshit, but I mean, it's the ugliest truck.
Well, and how did trucks get? Listen, people don't drive BMWs, Mercedes anymore. Executives are getting trucks, expensive trucks. Nurses, like, it doesn't matter. That's the new luxury vehicle. I don't know how we ended it at that point, but
I don't know.
I think it's because the car owners or the car manufacturers made the most profit off them. So they're like, hey, let's push the truck. The shrimps are going bad next week. Push shrimp.
Yeah, I mean, and the stainless steel is a horrible idea because now you're seeing the handprints are staying on the vehicles. Yeah. So that apparently is a thing. So you almost have to have it wrapped so that you don't get handprints all over it. So it's basically your refrigerator now.
They thought they were DeLorean.
Yeah. So I seriously think you have to be on the spectrum to like the Cybertruck. That's being mean to the Spectrum. Got to be honest with you. Like, that's being mean to them. I know Saturday when we were doing the show, so Haley and Sue, and we were all eating lunch at the shop. They came up to pick up Haley's car. It was this last Saturday because of the holiday and all that crap. And I go, all right, show and tell. And I drew this thing real quick. And I said, all right, I'm going to flip it around. Tell me what it is. And it was a hand drawing of a Cybertruck. And then I'll go, Cybertruck. And and so on the show, that night I was like, everybody knows what this is, right? It took me all of 2 seconds to draw it, and they're like, yeah, it's an ugly ass Cybertruck. Like, it's insulting to everyone's intelligence. Like, and then again, I was talking with Brian, and Brian was like, he was like, bro, that's so cool. And I'm like, no, man, it's not ugly.
Yeah.
Like, I get the whole I want to be different. I understand that. I wear the dumbest shoes on the face of the earth because, yes, they are comfortable. But still, man, I'm not. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb. Oh, God.
Listen, I'd get an electric car just because I'm cheap. That would be the only reason. And I would use it as a commuter car. And that would
Yeah, but you still got to charge it.
Right. I just charge it at home. Because
okay, you're still paying to charge it.
But very little. Like, I could charge it. It would cost me, I looked it up, 38 cents a kilowatt to charge it overnight at my house.
Okay.
So I could drive, what was it? I figured out. I could drive 3 months on a tank of gas that I would have paid for the trip.
I don't have a V6 Mustang. I have a 4-cylinder Mustang with turbo. So let's get that right. So I get gas mileage for days on this thing. Like, I fill up once a month. And I am not a performance guy. I bought the car because the top goes up and down. I don't care. Like, I'm not the guy. I'm not gonna have the bro. I drive Ford because it was found on side of road dead, or because Camaros suck. Or I own a Camaro now. I own a Mustang.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, I'm not butthurt about it at all. I just, my opinions are what they are, and that's the great thing is,
Yeah.
I think a Tesla is a jelly bean, and I'm not opposed to an electric car because I tell you right now, if they came out with a hybrid Mustang, I would buy it. Right, I would buy it. And that thing that they have that is a hybrid Mustang, that's not a Mustang. That's an SUV that they put a pony on. It's the dumbest looking thing in the world. Yeah. Give me a sports car. Give me a car that looks cool and is a hybrid or a battery. I don't care. Then I'm bored. Then I'm like, hell yes, this is cool. Yeah. The crap we have now is just stupid looking cars. And I'm definitely not going to buy a pickup truck. That's dumb.
That's why I drive all the time, man. Because I do, like, my dream car is never going to be a sports car. Like, if I ever got one, it would be like a 90s JDM car of some sort, or like a 80s model Land Rover Defender, or an old Land Cruiser, something like that. But
yeah, no, and there again, I'm just stuck in that, like, I don't know. I haven't gotten past having a 2-door where no one else drives with me. That's just kind of where I'm at. I had a pickup truck for years. I had 3 different Dodge Rams.
You just fill the rest up with speakers so they can't fit.
That doesn't work. Yeah. So, I mean, I had Dodge Rams for like 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
I drove a Dodge Ram of some form, and then when I wrecked the last one, that's when I bought the Camaro. And up until that point, like when I was in high school, I had a 2-door, which I liked. But then I got an Accord, and that was a 4-door, and then I was a truck after that. So, when I went back to the Camaro and having a 2-door sports car low to the ground, I was like, this is weird because I've been driving in a truck for the past 16 years. So now the thought of going back to a truck is just like, I can't even, like, when we're sitting there working on them, I can go, I don't know how I drove one of these. Like, I don't know how I did this. This is crazy. But yeah, Bobby, definitely Ram for the win. I love Rams. I had a great time in my Ram. But I just, yeah. Anyways, that's that. So that video got done. So cheers to Alpine Tesla Systems.
It's over. It's done. It's over.
Yeah, on to the next one for sure. And then we had that.
I've seen you did the new kicker amp.
The little, yeah.
Dude, those sides. Yeah, it's not that new, but it hasn't been out very much in videos.
No.
But the side heatsink, totally ZR vibes. ZR amp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was looking, I was like, that looks like if you took all that off and put the side fins all the way down, it'd look like a ZR amp.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I really wasn't a ZR dealer back then, so yeah, it was like
No, listen. Here's the truth that nobody wants to talk about. Like nobody bought kicker amps back in the day like that.
no.
Like it was Rockford Fosgate, Orion.
Yeah.
And you had some other niche ones, but kicker was not on the. They were on the subwoofer list. Top of
yeah,
on subwoofer list.
Yeah.
They really didn't get a lot of play.
I agree with Steve on this one. The Tesla sound systems do sound really good. My dad's for the Y is bumps. 100%. You are correct, Steven. You know, we listened to this Tesla before we took the factory stereo out because it was the premium sound system. And to me, I was like, this thing better be substantially better. And it really wasn't. It was louder, you know, which is what most people ask for. The bass was more. So overall, it was just a louder version of what they have. So if someone came in and was like, can I make this louder? And I'd be like, yeah, you know, you can buy the system from Alpine for like $32,500. And then it's
for $8,000. We got you.
Yeah. So it's basically like $5,000. You can have your car sounding louder. You know?
Right.
So, yeah. Okay. But the one thing we did find out is that like the amplifier is in that situation is made specifically to go into a Tesla. Okay, yeah. Like that. So Alpine bought the company that designed all that stuff a couple years back, I think right around COVID time. And this was their first project. That's why none of that stuff looks like Alpine stuff, because it wasn't. Alpine bought the company.
That's why it has the different cones.
That's why it has everything different. Okay. And so, but that amplifier is specifically designed for a Tesla, in that the problem with like Teslas is where you connect power, because it does all these checks in the car before it actually will do shit. And that's why everyone has to go to the front battery connection up underneath the hood and drill a hole and do all this nonsense. But their amplifier is programmed to follow the turn on sequence of power consumption for that vehicle, because there's another manufacturer that bought the amplifier and did a whole bunch of testing on it to find out what the fuck, you know, because they're like, we want to put this in, we want to put our equipment in there. So what makes this one so fucking special? They can connect at that power point, because you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, they have all this software in the amplifier that does different turn-ons and allows it to mimic what Tesla is looking for when it turns on. So yeah, there's that. So that's kind of cool.
Like, it seems like a lot of new cars are going that way. Even the non-electric ones are doing similar type of shit.
Yeah, and then of course the company that did all the research was like, yeah, we're not going to put that in our amplifiers.
Like, no. So oh man. But
yeah, I mean, Alpine does hope that, but they would never, because that's like, Alpine has their whole OEM division. And they would never do something like that for that. That would be way too expensive. You know, when they designed the Jeep system, like there's a whole, like, we had like a 4-hour conversation with Alpine on the whole why the Jeep system is the way it is, why there's 4-inch in the dash, why it's a ported enclosure, everything there was to know about it. Like, we got balls deep with them on that thing, and it sucks, man. Like, I know why these guys do it, because it's like a solid paycheck of like, we ain't got to do shit but once and then we're done.
Right.
But fuck, man, the hoops you got to jump through. It's like, in just the stupidity of it. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. But yes, Alpine is to blame on why the current Jeep has a 4-inch in the dash, not a 6.5 like the previous version. Way to go, guys.
You did it. Oh man.
Yes, to be fair, I think modern cars do need to boot up. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
And that's why, if you're connecting into a modern car, looking for an accessory fuse is typically a bad idea, because you don't want something that turns on with the key. You want to use the DC offset, which is built into the factory amplifier, that will automatically turn on systems when the system starts to boot up and boot down. So a lot of people don't understand what DC offset is and why it's important, and why it's better to use a DC offset circuit than to go find an accessory, because when you're walking up to your car and you disarm it, your car starts to turn on, and in the background, all these things are happening that you don't get to see because they don't put lights on the dash and say booting up the audio system, turning this computer on. You don't see all that shit. But once you add an amplifier to it that connects into that system, then the turn on light reflects all that shit. And so it's like, why is my amp staying on? It's like, dude, no, your amp is booting up because the system is booting up and it's in idle current mode, which means it's drawing no amperage. It's just ready. It doesn't actually do anything until voltage comes into it. It's just ready to work. It's not like it's drawing 150 amps just sitting there doing nothing. It's not like that. So connecting with a DC offset circuit, way more sense in a modern car than trying to go like, I'm going to go hook up to the cigarette lighter. Because when you do that, that's when the car is already booting everything up, and then you're hitting it again with whatever that amplifier has to turn on and do, and it's like, that could be bad. Yeah. But hey, it's okay. It's okay.
Which is why Cassie's car doesn't have a system, because it's perfectly fine for her. So that's the way it's going to stay. She's happy with it. It's fine with me.
I think car audio will change a lot with the high voltage EV batteries. You can get some serious power and efficiency. Yes. Yeah. We're going to start to see, like, even that Alpine amp is designed to work off of higher voltage. The Pico amplifiers, they make a higher voltage Pico amplifier now specifically for that. So yeah, but the thing, okay, so here's the problem. And we've really gone sideways on this one. The problem is that depending on the manufacturer that you talk to, each of them has certain ideas about when they want to implement change, because they look at these car manufacturers in the EV world as the wild, wild west, meaning there's in a standard 12-volt vehicle, everything other than an EV or a hybrid, there is a process for doing things, meaning it is going to work this way, all right, as far as the electrical system goes. But we started to see changes in like Chevy trucks. Chevy truck added a feature that was like boost mode on the alternator. So all of a sudden the alternator would shoot up to 16 volts, and the amplifiers they can't take that shit.
Right.
And it was like, oh crap, so you were popping amplifiers, or the amplifiers would just go to high voltage overload protection if it had a good circuit and protect itself. And it was like, well, why is it doing that? RAM has something very similar to that. And so then it was like, all right, well, we have to build our amplifiers a little bit smarter, that can look at this and see what it is. And so some of them do, and some of them don't. And so then they're just like, hey, your amp went into high voltage protection, turn the car off, turn it back on, you'll be fine, whatever. Like a Q class, like the Kicker Q class can't work in a modern Chevy vehicle because of that. And it'll do it on startup, which is really screwed up. So it's like you'll get a 15, 16 volt kick at startup. And if those amplifiers aren't capable of just like walking through that, then they shut down. So, we need these amplifier manufacturers to get on board and be a little creative and start making some specialty products that they don't want to do, because everybody wants to make one thing and make thousands of the one thing, or they want to make one thing and make a variation of that thing and make thousands and thousands of those things. So to make a one-off Tesla amplifier or a one-off, that'll work on these 5 cars, it's super expensive, and they don't see the return on it, as opposed to like if you're the only game in town, well, yeah, do it. But they're just not seeing it.
I think the one thing that you got to think about too is like the base head sector. As these older cars start to become unfunctional, like that's slowly going to die off, because you're not going to there's some of these probably you'll be able to do a system in like that in the future, but I just don't see it happening in the same way. I mean, because they have much more, they're using older designs on most amps, base head focused amps and stuff. And now they can come up with something new for sure and do that, but I just don't see it being as big as it is right now.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's look at that for a minute. We say, okay, so if we look at like the amplifiers of today that are clones of the, let's say, late 90s amplifiers, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they're not reinventing the wheel. They're literally like, hey, this company over here knows how to make these amplifiers. We're making amplifiers using this technology. All this technology is free to them now because it's all out of circulation, right? So, the companies that made those amplifiers and had that technology back in the day are no longer there. They're so far beyond that's like a public domain amplifier design. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can make it, you can add a few new things to it, like, distortion detection, peak lights, subtle circuits that are there again in the public domain. So it's not like you're stealing anything, or something that's cheap enough to copy and pay the royalties on can go into a lot of these amplifiers with no great loss. And the amplifiers still only cost, $55-$60 for, a giant 2000 watt amplifier. It's really about $25, but, it's so we look at that, we say, all right, well, if you look at like the current smart amplifiers that are out right now that are expensive and do all kinds of neat shit, those amplifiers are going to evolve into better amplifiers because these companies are going to make more tech and more smart, so to speak. So there again, it's always this sliding ruler of this stuff is going to become available. So these guys will be able to take advantage of the stuff that these guys are throwing away because they have new ideas, So I think they'll all evolve. It'll just, these guys will obviously not evolve at the same rate that these guys are, but they're going to be getting all their old tech.
Yeah.
That, is free and cheap. So,
Well, but imagine, you also have to factor in the degradation of the battery over this amount of time. Because this car, no one's going to do a base head unless you got a lot of money. No one's going to do a big base head build in a brand new vehicle.
No, that's just silly.
So like,
there's always that one guy. I mean, there's always the one guy.
If you got money, I mean, hey, spend. I'm not watching.
Yeah,
do whatever. I think it'll be awesome, actually.
Oh, for sure.
If you did it, but I just think like the average Joe that wants to do a big build, it's like all this stuff's the battery's gonna be degraded, and imagine putting that much more strain on the battery that's already degraded. You can refurbish it, you can do stuff like that, but I don't see. I'm predicting it. Watch 20 years from now. We will see the shrink in the base head community.
I mean, I hope to not care in 20 years. Got to be honest with you. I hope that's like the furthest from my brain in 20 years from now. If I'm still here, I'm hoping that's like, I'm not even like, what are those?
I think the majority of Cardo is going to go on like it has, because most people are not getting 10,000 watts in their vehicle. Most people are getting 1,000, 2,000 watts. Somewhere in that range,
Yeah, max power. Yeah, like we put 1,000 watt amp in today, and I was like, this is the stupidest thing in the world, because like the car we were putting it in, you pop the hood and the battery's corroded and shit, so the guy's never replaced the battery. And I'm like, why did you sell him this? This is like the dumbest thing ever. Like, sell him a Key 500.1 and it'll sound better than this. No. Oh, well, he wanted 1,000 watt. Here we're gonna have that conversation again. Great. It's just one of those things that's like, we have to become smarter as far as what we're doing in these cars. I think it's so funny, because if you look at Kicker and you say we have the Key 501, which is probably the most powerful 500 watt amp you're going to get, because it has the DSP built into it that allows you to fix that fucking signal that's going to the subwoofer so that you actually get the 500 watts in a high level environment, which a lot of people just don't understand what I'm talking about when I say that. And it's fine. You're not supposed to. But, if you have something that, if this line here at the top of this page is where everything else is playing, and at like 80 hertz, it goes like this. Okay. When you play 40 hertz, it's about here. Okay. And 50 is a little higher, 60 is a little higher, but you're never getting the volume of the rest of the system. So, you're already 12 dB down, sometimes 18 to 24 dB down at 40 hertz, because that's an octave below 80.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that has a 24 dB crossover on it, some of these cars do fuck? You put a 1,000-watt amp in there and you get no goddamn. It's like, bro, my bass sounds very hollow. You know, it's just going bop, 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 you know, and it's like, yeah, and it's not loud. Well, it's because there's no volume at those frequencies. So having a DSP to fix that will, and then just putting 500 watts behind it, it's like you actually get to hear 500 watts. And it's like, oh my God, that's
Most people don't have, you have the experience and you know exactly what it has, but most people don't even have that point of reference.
no, and they don't. Yeah,
They just think more power, more better, you know. And
yes,
even if they understand electrical, they don't understand the nuance of the actual system itself. Not some people do, but I'm just saying, I'm generalizing. There's probably a lot of people that don't. Yeah.
You need a key lock, Bobby, not a kiss lock. That's just a high level, low level adapter.
Yeah.
The Key 500.1 has key lock technology built into it, so it's capable of DEQing that low frequency plus or minus 12. So even at plus or minus 12, it's really a push to get it up. But you know, I always laugh because it's like you put a 1,000-watt amp in there and it doesn't sound as loud as the 500-watt amp, and they're like, "Well, what the heck?" And you're like, now if you go get the Electromedia Prima 1001.7 or whatever the hell it is, that has a full DSP in it. Now you have a 1,000-watt amp with a full DSP that you can do anything you fucking want to, like, which is great. And then the other thing you have to keep in mind too, like you get these Nimrods, and I don't mean that badly, that want to hook up left and right speakers for subwoofer, which is in the past was a fabulous way of doing things. In the present, you don't necessarily want to do that because there's a certain couple cars out there that are very popular to the consumers that have an all-pass filter located at, I think it's 60 something hertz. So now when you sum those two things together in the amplifier, guess what you get at that frequency? A big fucking dip. You get no bass. And you're like, why does it sound like crap? You know, and then you're over there and you're disconnecting one sub and it gets loud and you flip them and it doesn't, and there's nothing to fix that. Like, just disconnect one input and it's gone, you know, and it's like, oh, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
So
the only time I've run left right is on an amp that just I couldn't bridge, or I didn't have the bridging module for, because it was never worth it to me.
Right. Yeah. It's just funny. I mean, great thing about AMM1 shows just how little power it really has. Get loudish. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. No doubt. Right. This is true. This is true. I remember the first time I used one of those in a car and the amplifier was putting out like 35 watts. And I'm like, wow, this thing is shit. That sucks so bad. Oh, it can't be put. Oh, yeah. The math isn't wrong. It's putting out 35 watts.
Right.
You know? And you're like, oh, well, that's some good sound in 35 watts then. This is true. But
and that's speaking of pet peeves, car audio pet peeves. This is one of them, right?
Segue into that.
That people think that, I don't know how to put this. Let me see. I don't want to say it incorrectly, but the dyno power, I do dynos, you do dynos, Derek does dynos, a bunch of people do them, right?
Hate them.
But they think that is what you're going to get in your car. It's like you're almost never going to get this amount of power in your car. This is a even playing field that tells voltage, it tells power. That way, you know, Dean gave it 14 volts flat and it did this. Derek gave it 14 volts flat and it did. It's just an even playing field. It is not what you're going to see in your car.
No. And that was like, if you watch the kicker video we just did on the 600.1, the Cam A 600.1, you know, this is the first time I think that they've really talked about what is called boost power supply, but they have a sweeter name for it because boost sounds stupid, where the amplifiers
took that.
What's that?
Plus Rockford already took that.
Yeah, and it does different things. And there again, it's just a design. It's nothing fantastic, but you know, that allowed us to you know, when we did the dyno on the 800.1 at Kicker, we took it all the way down to the lowest amount of voltage that the dyno would actually run with, because they didn't have it on its own power supply. If we would have had it on its own power supply, we could have ran it, but then we wouldn't be able to see the voltage that, you know. Anyways, why we did 2 tests on it, the same test at 2 different voltages, is so we could show that, like, if you have the best electrical system and you don't, but the amplifier is still putting out plenty of power to get through the day. And like, I know when we tested the 801, it was like at 14.4, it was 960 or whatever the hell it was. And then when we took it down to 9.5 volts, it was like 400 watts.
Right.
And the fact that it would even stay on at that low of a voltage, I mean, you're not driving home. Your battery's dead, bro. Call AAA or your buddy with a jump box, because you're not going home that day. But the amp is still going to be cranking.
Old Ridge would have been dead at 10.8. Dead. Yeah. It would have been up in smoke. It would smell real nice in your vehicle.
Actually, it's funny when the amps do blow up on the amp dyno. That is kind of, it's a thing. It happens.
Yeah.
Cameras are typically not rolling, because we're asked not to do that. But and then there again, some of the amps we've tested for manufacturers are it's just abysmal. What, like, holy crap, this would never work in a car.
No.
This is just the dumbest shit ever. But yet we still do it, and it's like, fucking hate it. But yeah, it's, there again, I'm not a dyno guy. I own one. I show you guys because everyone likes that stuff. But
no.
Oh, dude, we set up the dyno. It never fails. As soon as I fire up the dyno, blow up a power supply. It's like now we have 2 extra power supplies, so we just keep fixing power supplies. So we always blow one up, and it's like, awesome. Grab the backup, put it in, order the stuff to fix the other one. And like, we had 2 blow up. That was great. Luckily, it was just the fuses. So we're like, and dude, it was funny too. You put the fuse in, blows up. Put the fuse in again, blows up. It's like this sequence of how you turn this shit on so it doesn't blow up. It's like, oh my God, this stuff sucks.
That's crazy. I use RV power supplies, battery bank power supplies, and they're actually inverters and power supplies.
Yeah.
Those things are so robust. Like, I've done them every single way wrong just to see if one will go, and they haven't went yet. I better knock on wood, but
yeah, no, Astrons are not that.
Yeah.
I don't care if these things are the standard or not. They are not that, man. They are fucking temperamental little bitches. Oh my God.
Well, those are like that's lab grade equipment. This is like they know a bunch of
idiots are going to be doing it.
Hillbilly idiots like me are going to be just doing dumb shit to these. And they're like, hey, just much like a kicker amp that sells in Walmart, they know that this thing has to be bulletproof because it's going to go through hell.
Yeah. But no, so we always try to have like more than one amp that we have to test.
Yeah.
Because we didn't test the Warhorse yesterday. That was the one amp we didn't test because I was like, we need to charge the batteries up for that one. And I forgot to do it. So I was like, I got to wheel this thing out again.
Dude, speaking of the Warhorse,
have
all the focals are in the Prius.
Yeah.
They're set up. The doors are done. I did that last Friday. So the bed is laid for the Warhorse. I need to do some sound dampening in the trunk, and I got to replace a little garnish piece because it's messed up. But once I do that, the groundwork is laid, and we will have a Warhorse in there.
Very nice.
So that'd be fun to play around with. The focal tweets, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't like them, but they're all right.
All right, so okay, what is Jason WW2000 talking about? The base head garage watt meter is around 90, selling like hotcakes. What the heck is that?
I've never heard of it.
Jason, could you put a link to it in the comments so we can see what it is you're talking about?
Always interested for cheaper. Now, in mine, I'll still always use the AMM1 just because it's like
it's a standard.
It's kind of like when you go into a garage. Now, I'm not like this. I don't care, but you see Snap-on tools and they're like, "Oh, this dude knows what he's doing," right? Even though that's really not true, but it gives the air of
it's the illusion,
right?
Yeah. Oh, so, for sure.
It's like this is what people expect to see.
No, I'm just a sucker for tools.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I mean, that's why I have a lot of RTAs and a lot of oscilloscopes and several different voltmeters. And
what's like Andy uses the SPL labs, which I thought about getting too, but then I was like, I'm not into testing amps that much, anyways.
No, and
So
I honestly,
there's no, I don't know. I just don't have any desire to put more into amp testing.
well, no, and I have the SPL Labs mic, SPL meter.
The little one,
Yeah,
that's
and
the bass meter.
yeah, it's useless.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I use it for a bunch of stuff, but it would be.
I don't think it's very accurate. I think there's others out that are way more accurate than that one for what that thing cost.
Yeah, which one do you have though? Is it the one that's like
Yeah, it's a 2-piece, I think. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while. The only time we bought it to use when we did the quad box.
Yeah,
we bought it just for that video, and we could never get it to do the same thing twice.
really.
So it's like, dude, if you're playing the same song with the same voltage at the same time of the day, and the meter isn't giving you the exact same or reasonably close, there's something wrong. It's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
I think they have like there's like 3 or 4 different calibration files on that when you do, so you can choose which calibration file.
Yeah, but there again, if this is the meter and it's stuck to the window, and I play 5 seconds into the song and everything stays the same, and then 10 minutes later I play 5 seconds into the song, the fucking numbers should be the same.
Yeah.
Not be
or pretty close. I will say this, like every bass meter I've had has had that problem. The term lab.
Yeah.
Not everyone, I haven't had a term lab, but everyone I've used, I should say, has had some sort of that issue.
Yeah, I just, to me, that's, it's hard to get behind something that's that kind of weird.
Yeah.
And there again, if there's a software update for it or something like that, I'll be more than happy to give it a go again. But it just sits in its case, sits in its pretty little box up on the shelf, and one day we'll go to use it and then it won't work.
Well, and I only use mine as a point of reference anyhow. So it's like I just, in my vehicle, because you'll see other creators are like doing 160 or something with one sub, and it's like, all right, man, it's just a whole different situation. I'm just telling you, in my car, this sub at this much power did this decibel versus another sub in my car did at this much power.
Right.
That's the only thing I use it for. So
well, and that's the other thing too. I was like, you know what, this isn't my wheelhouse. So the reason why we got it was because we knew the quad box, someone's gonna be like, what's the SPL on that? And it's like, I don't know, loud, somewhere between loud and fucking loud. I mean, like, everything feels like the car is gonna fall apart. What more do you need to know? So but so we but could always use the audio control. You can buy the higher end mic for that. They're coming out with an SPL mic to plug into the DMRTA.
Yeah.
So at some point, I'm sure if that's something we need to do, we'll just use that.
Yeah, which will give you even a different reading.
Yeah, but as long as it's replicatable, I don't care.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It should be like 6 dB louder than what a pressure sensor would be, because that's what we used to use back in the day, was audio control. Which the tough one was the B&K. That was the one that was like the gold standard, and it was always 3 dB less than whatever you were doing on the audio control.
What is he saying? My pet peeve is. Okay.
That's no. You mean like what Nintendo does?
Oh wow! Ouch. Yeah, it was fun. So the first comment we got on the show way back, this is the biggest pet peeve in car audio, is the culture of vultures and all the creators with a lack of imagination that just steal ideas from smaller channels while pushing affiliate links and sales on people. It's funny. I don't think the size of the channel matters, because I think we have a bigger channel than most. And like some of there again, there's been plenty of guys bigger and smaller that ripped off how we do things. you know, which is fine. I mean, I get it. It's, you know, we're all over the board, so it's hard to not, you know, but we kind of strive ourselves on not doing something the way, you know, we always try to do it our way, you know, and it's like this is what we do. Hey, there's this other guy that, you know, it's like now he's flipping the box around and reading the box.
I will say I've always looked at the box.
Yeah,
like you guys just happen to notice it.
Yeah, no, I didn't care. I was joking,
but I don't care. I don't care anyways because I don't. Here's the God's honest truth. I really don't watch karate content outside.
No, I never do.
Fernando knows, and I watch Derek's. You know, that's
no. Fernando watches it, and then he comes and reports it to me in his little. Oh, you're not gonna fucking believe this, and I'm like, okay, what now?
Well, and I don't care. Like, and this here's the thing. Like, no idea.
No, there's no original thought
in the karting world. Like everything we're doing comes from other YouTube channels that have already done it. Unboxing, you know, it's all these.
Oh, yeah, dude. The whole this.
Yeah.
I took from a guy that does headphone reviews. Like he literally puts a GoPro on his head, and that's how he does his review. He's literally like this, and he like and I was like, I like that because I don't need me to be in the video on a product that I'm talking about. I'm not that like today we're going to talk. You don't need to see this, you know, or you know, or the unbox guy that, you know, they do great work, but I don't need to see him like
chilling. Yeah.
I you know, because we used to do that, and it was like I like that not there because I can get to the point faster.
Right.
And I can talk about stuff that matters. Anytime I have to do a cutaway, it's like this isn't helping anybody. Me going isn't helping at all. So, you know, I was like, screw it. Let's just do this, and we have the rig. Let's just fucking boom, done.
I do it.
You know, and Fernando's just standing there. Fernando's always just standing there on the side, watching what's going on and making sure I don't fuck up. And then, you know, so he does the intro and he does the extra, but in the, you know, like he doesn't feel the need to input anything during it, which even if I asked, hey, what do you think? He would never say anything. He'd just be, and I'll be like, you fucker. You know?
Yeah.
So,
well, that's just like we talked about on last week's show. Yo 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 came from MTV.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, we replicate things that we like, right? I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
You know, literally when I do my photography class, I say, listen, guys, when you're scrolling up, not this way, if you see a picture you like, save it, put it in your favorites, because like you liked that picture for a reason. Like, find out why, and then recreate it, because chances are good, you know, if you liked it, somebody else probably liked it too, and that's why you're looking at it now. So if you can recreate that style or do something in that style, or figure out what it was you liked about it and then replicate it and add that to your repertoire of ability, then you're that much better, you know?
Right.
And I always laugh because like when we do that class, you know, like when we did it at Orca's training at Mobile Solutions, I gave all the guys my phone, and it was like same picture, different picture, same picture, same picture. You know, I was like, guys, it was a great idea, but 2 of you did it, and there's only 12 of you that did this, so you might want to go back. You know, it's okay to take that shot, but realize that everyone takes that shot. So you need to put your own twist on it to make it something that's more memorable. And you know, like when Haley took her shot, she was like, she's looking around because she knows it's, you know, she you know, she knows. So she put a background behind it so that it was a clean shot of the car, because she listened and was like, yeah, you know, that's all this shit. Look in the corners, look for water bottles, look. And everyone wasn't paying attention to that. They took a picture of the car, and she found a folder, put it back there, blocked everything away, took a really nice back shot, and that picture came up. I had no idea it was hers, and she was like, and everyone's like, oh shit, you know. It was like, okay, well, whose is this? Because they fucking they figured it out without me telling them. They figured it out, and Haley's over there, yes. You know, it's like, and they all go, figures. You know. Have you ever seen Ed Lover? Oh, geez, no. I think we went and watched it. I don't remember, but yeah,
I don't remember the dance, but I remember the song.
Jason, still haven't posted the link. But I agree with you. Some people take car audio way too seriously. It should be about fun, enjoying music. True to a point. True to a point, for sure. It is. And for the end user, it should be totally that. For somebody like me that does it actually for a living, there is a certain amount of seriousness that has to be applied just because it is a job and we are working on somebody's vehicle. So it needs to be lighthearted and fun, but there has to be an undertone of we are taking lots of money from you, so we have to be professionals about it. And
Yeah.
And the goal is to make, it be a pleasant experience from start to finish. Like it's like going to get ice cream. It should be fun. And ooh, what do I want?
Like buying from Crutchfield online, even though it's more expensive.
Unless you know somebody.
Yeah, like unless you know somebody, right? But I just think it's a pleasurable experience because they have all the research done. If you're doing it yourself, they have all the research done for you. They know what you're going to need to do this install.
Yeah,
and it's just boom, boom, boom. This. They have quality brands. Though you know that if something goes wrong, you can contact them.
Yeah, well, it's always nice to know there's somebody on the other end.
Yeah, and it's like that's why, if at all possible, when I'm buying online, I don't get no affiliate links from Crutchfield, but I always buy from them just because I always have. So
yeah, no, I need that Mark affiliate link stuff going down. Like, yeah.
yeah.
Hey, right. If you can't make the 5-star, we understand, but head over to Crutchfield.
Yeah, right.
And they'll take care of all your mail order needs. I'm totally down with that. I could make that work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, listen, if Crutchfield wants to give me a affiliate spot, hey, I'm here. But yeah, until then, it doesn't matter. I like them. I think it's good. It's a good experience.
Yeah, I like to think of it as being paid to make dreams come true. I don't even put installer anymore. I say maker of dreams.
Maker of dreams.
Creator of dreams, filler of dreams, something like that. Because, trust me, what I do for a living still amazes me that it exists.
Yeah.
Because rationally, it makes absolutely no sense that music makes people want to spend large sums of money to make their car sound better. And I get it. We spend a lot of time in our car, but it still doesn't make sense to me that is still a form of expression that drives and moves people. So our shop owner complains about Crutchfield. I think he's crazy. They never have stuff for less than map. Yeah. Listen, there's nothing wrong with Crutchfield. I mean, they're a bunch of great guys. They at least are honest. They stay in their lane. Some people are going to buy from them. I mean, it's just like, some people will never eat at a mom and pop restaurant. Okay. Yeah. They'll never, because they don't trust them. They're, oh no, that's why banks were always these big, giant columns of granite and steel, and because you're putting your money in there. So it's got to look like it's safe. Now they're these like 7-Elevens, it's like, because we've moved past that.
Right.
Just like some people always buy their stuff from a Best Buy because they feel safe knowing that there's, a multi-store chain and lots of money if shit goes sideways. I won't have to worry about my, $5,000 I spent there because I can go back to that building and complain, and it's like, yeah, that's cool. I mean,
dude, if you told me, even now, it's hard for me to believe how many 5,000, like basic $5,000 systems you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you would have, like, I would have been even way more surprised in the dark ages of car audio, 2003, 2004. But even now, it's like the amount of people that are still willing to pay for that kind of system.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy to me. It's hard to believe that now everybody in chat, I can understand them because we're maniacs. We're a different breed of people.
Yeah.
But just like the average Joe that does that, it's shocking to me.
Well, it's funny because like we had one of those days this week where it's like I had to talk to somebody and Fernando had to talk to somebody, and both of them were disconnected from what they were actually asking us to do. Like one guy comes in, he says, he's like, I want to do all this shit. It's like, okay, well, where have you looked that you think you could walk in with $1,500 and you're going to get any of that? And then like the other guy that I had to deal with was like
back in the day.
Yeah. Well, and that was just it. He started out with that. I've had systems back in the day, and Fernando's like, with what? Like, what equipment? He's like, Pile. And he goes, well, there you go. I mean, we don't sell that crap.
Yeah.
And it's not crap. We just don't sell it. We probably do. I have no idea.
Paul sells it, not you.
Yeah, yeah. But and the other guy was like, you mean I got to replace my whole radio because the volume doesn't work on it? It's like, well, I can't just put a new knob in it, dude. I mean, how much is that? Is there nothing else I can do? I'm like, yeah, you can take it back to the dealership and let them do it.
Yeah.
You think we're a lot? Jesus, man, come on.
Or you could put it in yourself. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
Do the work.
Or just
they don't want to work.
Do what you thought you were gonna do. You thought, you were on Amazon, you saw some cheap Chinese radio, and you figured that everyone must sell these things. So you're just gonna go to your local guy and pick one of them up for $250. He's gonna charge you $50 to put it in, because how hard could it be?
Right.
And that's that, and $300, I'll have my problem solved. And it's like,
dude, even me who has a YouTube channel, if I get an install on a new car, you know what's gonna happen? I'm like, hey Dean, I'll drive 5 hours. Like, who do I go to?
Yeah. I mean, but there again, it's all about. Listen, at the end of the day, it's asking the right questions, right?
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing, it's asking the right questions. If you don't understand something, you pound the pavement until which could be just searching the internet, talking to people watching a video, getting lucky enough to get one of your questions answered on our show, until you get the answers that you need to fill the questions. The hard part is, and this is the thing that I always try to get across to people, is if you don't know how to ask the question, I can't give you the answer. So, and you don't know what you don't know. So you can't ask me what you really want to ask, because you don't understand what it is you need to ask me.
Yeah.
So, we have to play this game of, okay, let me ask you a bunch of questions. So hopefully you'll understand at some point one of the answers you're going to give me is going to let me understand what it is you're actually trying to ask me. So Pile sells high-end equipment also. Hey, there again, it was just back in my day. Hey, the first set of subwoofers, well, second or third set of subwoofers, I had some Pile 12s, bro. They were $80 for two. It was fantastic. 2 12-inch Piles.
Yeah.
Badass. They came in cardboard. They weren't even in boxes.
They're probably made by Eminence.
Dude, they were straight up bulk Pile 12-inch subwoofers, man.
What's like, dude, I'm telling you, like the Pyramid Super Blues, or those were made by Eminence, and those were, now, don't compare them to today's subwoofers, but back in the day, those were decent subs.
Well, no, I mean, hey, listen, everybody's going to hit something out of the park, right?
Even Audiobahn had some decent equipment. Everything else,
dude, people are so nostalgic about Audiobahn.
Dude, those, like, I'm not friends with those people. I'm just going to say, if you liked Audiobahn that much, I know you don't know what the hell you were talking about back in the day.
Dude, Fernando had an Audiobahn amplifier, and he's like, bro, I missed my Audiobahn. I'm like, no, you missed it because it was chrome and had flames.
Yeah.
Other than that, it sounded like crap. Come on, man.
Audiobahn sucked.
But it looked cool.
The first fat roll surround I ever had was an Audiobahn, and that was kind of changed the game for me. I was like, oh shit, this thing can actually flex a little bit. So,
all right, I'll head over to Basehead Garage. Thanks.
We'll put.
Yeah, I mean, Chrome won't get you home.
Well, one thing before we sign off that I want to say, Slamology. Next Saturday is Slamology. Okay. I will be there. If you're not in next week's show, we'll talk about it next week.
Oh, we won't be here next week.
We won't be here next week.
I'll be in Atlantic City doing Knowledge Fest next week.
Okay. So Slamology, there's a lot of cool systems there. I want to hear them, but really I want to hear the people that are in this chat. If you're going to be there and you got a system, I want to hear it, because I want to.
No, that's so cool for sure.
That's way better than the big systems are awesome, no doubt. But I want to hear people's systems are proud of. So
doing my Slamology prep this week. Yeah. No, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
One of these years we're gonna make it to Slamology.
Yeah. This is my first. I've been saying it for 5 years now.
Thank you, Baba. Baba just sent me the link. So
Yeah. I think you sent it.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll check it out. All right, no show next week then. So the week
yeah,
after.
no show next week. So you guys have a fabulous week. If you're in Atlantic City and want to see us, we'll be at the Hera. I totally understand. Not, it's funny. We always tell people we're going to be, and every now and then someone will come by. But and it's like we're going to the shittiest place in America, apparently, according to everybody I know that talks about it. If you live in Atlantic City, I apologize, but it's like everyone we talk to says it's like the scariest shithole. You're going to get shanked just walking down the road, which I think is wonderful. Let's go there. But we always tell, hey, if you want to stop by, we'll be somewhere in the bar. If we're Facebook friends, text me, we'll tell you where to meet us. This would be the one place that somebody would come to, because it's just such a shithole.
I mean,
Nice place in Dallas, no one will show up. Vegas,
you gotta see Atlantic City. Like I told you, I've seen it, I've been there, and now I never have to go back.
No, and that's
you'll be the same once you see it.
yeah, it's gonna suck.
All right,
guys. Thank you for watching as always.
All right, we won't see you next week. We'll see you the week after. If you want to continue the nonsense, we're talking about a long ass movie on the next one.
Jesus Christ.
See ya.
See ya.